Hi. Let's face it, I'm not an ordinary guy, but my neighbors are. I'm going to go visit the Dotsons. We like to get together on weekends and go traveling on the internet. Hi, Mrs. Webb. Beautiful day. No doubt about it, it's a .com world. Everyone here in Chatsville has gotten online, hooked up to the internet, and so can you. Hi, Meg. Garage sale today? I write books about the internet, and I'm here to tell you it's not just for kids anymore. You want to see?
Good morning,
Good
John.
morning.
Oh, nice threads, John.
Oh. I'll be right back.
The Internet for Grown-Ups is made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hey, Internet man, good morning. Coffee's on, right this way. I'm right behind you.
You know, I've said this about 3 times. Maybe you didn't hear me. I'd like you to go download some breakfast this instant, young man. You also have to do your laundry, clean your room, mow the front lawn. Let's see, you have an English paper to do, and you have a football game at 4 o'clock. I think that's a pretty good day for you.
Are you still working on that high school reunion of yours?
Yes, Ma. Oh, look, I have email from Anna. Thanks for letting me use your computer.
Oh, I never leave home without it. You still inviting that uppity little Smith boy? I always said he'd come to no good.
He's a state senator now, Mom, and besides, the reunion is for the whole class.
Does that mean you'll be inviting Charlotte Stribling?
Your old sweetheart?
Don't you wish? Anyway, I can't seem to find her address, and I heard Stribling was 2 married names ago.
Did you have computers when you were in school?
No, son.
Did you have electricity?
Have you taken out the trash recently?
You think this would be a good time to go camp out in the den?
Oh, yeah.
The internet began in the late 1960s when 4 universities in the western U.S. created a computer network. From there, the internet has grown rapidly, at first reaching other U.S. universities and research institutions, but eventually expanding around the globe. And it began to explode in size as it included commercial users and individuals. Today, signs of the internet are everywhere in our daily lives. In America, 1/3 of the nation is online either at home or at work. We shop on the internet, we invest on the internet, we communicate via the internet, and someday we will all be linked by this digital mesh. As the new century begins, over 50 million computers and 150 million users are on the net, and it's still growing by 40 to 50% a year. You also hear a lot about the World Wide Web, that WWW thing.
Aren't the web and the net like the same thing?
Like, no. The web is like one part of the net, or one of several ways to use the net to pass information around. The web's only been around since 1989, but it's grown faster than anyone expected, and for a lot of folks, it's the most exciting part of the internet experience. Through the web, you can link up to most of the other cool things the net has to offer, even the stuff for grown-ups. The web is organized as a bunch of pages of information. Each website can have 1 or more pages. The first page you see is called the home page. Every page can have text, pictures, audio, video, animation. The most amazing part is how each page can be linked up to any other page at any site, any place in the world. Look at this web page. These words or phrases lit up in a different color are called hyperlinks, but their friends just call them links. There can also be some kind of a button on the screen, and each one points to another web page.
When you click on one of these, your computer will take you to a new page real fast.
That's right, and that new page can have new links, usually to other sites of related interest. Clicking from page to page like this is what they call surfing the web, and it can take you to some amazing places. About this time, people often ask me, who's in charge of the net?
Who's in charge of the net, John?
I'm glad you asked. The not-so-simple answer is no one and everyone. Except for a group that registers those funny .com names, there's no central authority. And that's the beauty of it. The internet is free to grow, evolving to serve the ever-changing needs and interests of its users. It's a brand new world with its own language, and it does take some getting used to. Even experienced users have a hard time keeping up. I know I do. But getting started is easier than ever before, and that's what we'll be showing you. It's helpful to think of the net as a giant encyclopedia. You don't have to read the whole thing to find the parts you want. So if it's all new to you, be patient with yourself. You don't have to understand everything to begin exploring what the net has to offer. And just look where it can take you. In just seconds, you can link up with computers half a world away and see what's going on in London.
Or Carnival in Rio.
Or check on my stocks on the Hong Kong market. You know, if I had any.
Small world, huh? So how did we do that?
How did we do that, John?
Navigating the net isn't very hard. The computer does most of the work for you with a program called a browser.
No, he said browser. B-R-O-D. I think it's time for your walk.
It's the software program that runs on your computer, like the one we've been using here. The browser is your key to unlocking the internet and all its treasures. There are several different browsers on the market, but they all work pretty much the same. With the browser running, start by typing in a web address, and the browser handles all the business of taking you there.
Hey, John, where do those web addresses come from, and what do they mean?
You see them everywhere, all the .coms and ads on TV and in magazines. Everything to do with computers has a funny name, of course, and web addresses are called URLs, which stands for Uniform Resource Locators. So what's in a name? The first part is the scheme, which for web addresses is HTTP:. Dot is just a shorter name for a period.
Most of the time, you don't have to type in all that first stuff. Just start with the part after the www dot, and your browser will add the rest.
This part is the name of the computer that has the information you want to check out. It's usually named something that gives you a clue what it's about. The bit at the end, after the dot, tells you something about what kind of site it is or where it is. .com stands for a commercial site. .org means it's probably a non-profit organization like a civic club or a study group. .gov means it's a government site. .mil is a military site. .edu is a university or college. Many sites, particularly outside the US, use a country code such as JP for Japan or UK for United Kingdom. Having said all that, it's less important to understand what's in the name than it is to type it exactly right. If you type it incorrectly, your browser probably won't find what you're looking for. Once you've found a site you like, you never have to type its name again. Your browser will let you add it to a list of your favorite web pages, the ones you'd like to return to. Just tell your browser to remember it, and it'll show up in a list usually called bookmarks or favorites. Once you've added a site to the list, all you have to do is select it, and the browser will take you there. This is really useful for sites you visit regularly, like PBS.org.
Yeah, what's that cute Jim Lair up to?
There's no doubt about it. The internet is changing the way almost everyone does business.
Hey, while you're there, pull up the Houston paper. I want to see how my Astros are doing.
The internet isn't replacing traditional sources of information and entertainment like newspapers or TV, but it is changing the way they reach and serve their audiences. Around the world, the information once found only in a daily newspaper is now showing up in electronic form on the World Wide Web. We all know how newspapers work, or think we do. Take this newspaper, the Houston Chronicle, for instance. Hundreds of reporters, editors, photographers, and artists come together to produce the stories seen every day.
Who's supporting in the race?
From there, the stories go to composing for typesetting. Then to the copy desk to fix any typos and errors. Finally, the writings and photographs make their way through engraving and plate making onto these giant presses. At least, that used to be the only way newspapers published. Now newspapers across the country are publishing on the internet.
It's a different kind of media, the same way that television is an immediate kind of media, whereas in the newspaper, we tend to do a more thorough analysis the next day. I think the internet is a different type of thing.
very different. And not just because you read it on a computer screen. Stories are searchable. That is, you can ask the paper's website to find a story on a particular subject or particular interest that was published in the paper. And at the Chronicle, you can ask for stories from other news sources.
I'm interested in astronomy, so I have in effect electronic clipping services that give me information on astronomy, which we would not run on a daily basis, nor would most metropolitan papers.
At the Chronicle now, and probably at most online papers in the future, you can also customize the news.
When you click this big icon over here, it takes you to a page that allows you to personalize and customize your news. Only those things that you're interested in, including your stock portfolio, which you can read down the side of the page here. You can choose the weather stations that you're interested in tracking. You can put in your favorite movie theaters and know what's playing tonight. Lots of opportunities here to customize and build a page of links that really fits with your life.
An easy way to get all the news that's fit to download.
I can't tell you exactly what the newspaper of 2010 is going to look like, but I can tell you it will be different. It'll probably very much be a pointer to the rest of your life, the rest of your electronic life.
Okay, there's all this great stuff out there on the net, but what if you don't know the address?
If the net's like an encyclopedia, why can't you just look stuff up on the index?
Well, you can. The magic of the web is that it's searchable. May I? Look, in just a few seconds, you can get a list of all the web pages that contain the phrase dog show, or your own name, or the name of a book, or anything else you want to find. Then you can use the links to visit each page on the list. The web has lots of tools to help you look for stuff. They're called search engines, and they come in two basic flavors, directories and indexes. Let's look at one of each.
You know Yahoo's real cool.
Don't you have a room to clean or something?
Yahoo is a very popular directory. You get to it by pointing your browser to yahoo.com, their homepage on the web. A directory works like a library's card catalog. The listings are grouped by categories and subcategories. You click on a category, then on a subcategory, and so on, until you get to a list of websites. These are hyperlinks, so just click on the one you want, and the browser takes you there. The other kind of search engine is an index, like Alta Vista. It works like the index in a book. Here, computers are constantly examining millions of web pages and listing them by the words that occur in each page.
See if you can find out when that car show is going to be in town.
You type in a word or words related to what you want to find, and the index lists the sites that contain the words you picked. Sometimes you don't find any matches, but more often, you'll find too many. If you don't have time to check out 31,000 websites about car shows, you'll need to narrow your search by getting more specific, like classic car shows. Then click on a link to a likely site, and there you are.
Really fine cars.
There are lots of other search engines, each with different strengths. So try more than one if you have trouble finding what you need. As you saw at the online newspaper, some websites even have their own search engines, so you can look for stuff inside that one location. Like everything else on the net, the searching tools keep changing. But now you know the basics, so don't be afraid to explore. We hear stories every day about people using the net to find things and make connections. Sometimes it's a missing piece of their own story. Nestled in the foothills of eastern Kansas, Skip Pickering's ranch is 1,000 miles from the nearest shipyard. Even so, Skip enjoys tying mariners' knots. He learned as a boy from his father, who tied knots that his father had taught him, as he told stories that Skip has only recently begun to unravel.
Well, as a child growing up, Dad had all kinds of stories relating to the rumors that great-grandfather had been a blockade runner, which was intriguing to me, of course. Civil War was and is quite a subject. But he had items to show me, too, from great-grandfather. His knife and his pipe, his compass, and a palm push. I guess that's what you'd call it. It slips over your hand and you can shove needles through canvas as you're patching. There were things that I could relate to, I could hold and fantasize about.
So Skip decided to take on another chore and continue research his mother had begun. He would try to confirm the existence of this colorful ancestor.
My mother's research just took so long. You had to mail everything. And all the closer she got was just a picture of the Denby that she thought possibly could be the ship. It was manufactured in the right place. It was licensed out of Manchester, which was the right place. It was all these things. She couldn't make the link. I knew nothing about computers. I asked them if, does the mouse come with it? Do I need to buy the mouse? I brought it home, plugged it in, and launched myself into this world of the internet. And after about 30 days of making mistakes, learning from my mistakes, backing up, starting again, I finally became confident enough that I was ready to really begin some serious research.
Skip eventually located the ship his mother had mentioned, but it took some determination.
I used a search engine. I typed in Civil War blockade runner. Little did I know that that was going to be the answer to all my questions.
The rancher turned internet surfer scrolled through nearly 20 sites and stopped when he saw something about a ship excavation. That led him to the Denby Project, which took him to a Texas A&M University website.
And it gave the names of the co-owners of the Denby. J.H. Schroeder was listed from Manchester, England.
Skip then referred to some files he had received from a cousin he'd met online.
She had the vital piece of information that put this whole puzzle together. She had the name of Pickering's partners in Manchester. The partner's name was J.H. Schroeder. I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, it was falling into place. I couldn't sleep that night. I got up at 4 o'clock the next morning to email Bardo Arnold at the Institute of Nautical Archaeology, Texas A&M. By 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, there were 3 email there for me from Bardo. I shut down operations here at the ranch, put the equipment away, and I beat feet for Galveston, Texas.
Tell me about the connection of your family to the Denby.
That's what was interesting. My great-great-grandfather was a silent partner with J.H.W. Schroeder. One of the owners is listed as Schroeder and Company. That's what tipped me off.
This morning we started at the small boat basin at Texas A&M Galveston, sailed out the channel, crossed Bolivar Roads, and now we're right over here next to the North Jetty, which is where the shipwreck is. And you can actually see part of the superheater of the boiler breaking water once in a while to the right of the marker.
It's an amazing feeling to think that he was right there. And here I am, 134, 35 years later.
Here's a guy on our boat who is a descendant of one of the officers or maybe the captain of the Denby. 5 years ago, no email, and it wouldn't have happened, and no internet, no website, no nothing.
After all these years, all these rumors, Mother's pet project and mine had finally come to fruition. We found him.
Well, the Denby's still there.
One person can't do all the research in a project like this. It's important and fun to get other family members involved in putting the puzzle together.
Then Grim Reaper, Grandma,
Watch it.
says, relax, folks, it's just your battery.
Hey, you guys, act your age.
Hey, we are.
You've seen how fast the internet is growing, how it's rapidly become an important part of our lives, changing the way you do the most everyday things.
Hey, it's email from Anna and a lot of other people in my class. Everybody's got email these days.
You've learned about the browser and how it can take you anywhere in the world in seconds.
Did you find Charlotte yet?
And you've seen how you can search for the most amazing things and find them on the World Wide Web.
So, has anyone found Charlotte?
No, dear.
We've got lots more to show you, but you might be wondering what you'll need to get started on your own internet adventures. There are lots of ways to get online, but for most folks, You'll need a computer. The newer ones can take full advantage of all the web has to offer. You'll also need software like the browser program you've already seen, as well as an email program. These days, most computers come with internet software preloaded, or your computer store can load it for you. You'll need a modem. That's the gizmo that lets your computer talk back and forth to the net over your phone line. Most new computers already have one built in. If you buy a new one, the faster the better. And finally, you have to pay to subscribe to an ISP, an internet service provider. Your computer uses the modem to call up the provider's computer, and that computer hooks you up to the net.
Picking an internet service provider wasn't that easy. There were so many options.
You can choose a big commercial online service, such as America Online, which we call AOL, or CompuServe, or the Microsoft Network, called MSN. These value-added providers are relatively easy to set up and use. They offer phone-in help if you get puzzled. They each have some features you can't find elsewhere. And many give you ways to limit what your kids or grandkids can do online. There are many other ISPs that give you access to the net without all the extra features. They include large national providers such as AT&T WorldNet or Mindspring, all the way down to the local ISP that serves a single community. For a lot of folks, these local ISPs offer all they need or want. There are even some free internet providers that are supported by advertisers in some communities. In any case, the major differences to consider in choosing your net connection are price, service, and reliability. Some questions the Dotsons asked when they shopped for an ISP.
Does the ISP have local access numbers so we don't get long distance charges?
Do they offer phone support if you have trouble connecting?
Am I gonna get a bunch of busy signals when I'm trying to get online?
Do they have local numbers in cities I visit?
Some ISPs will give you a free trial period of a month or so. Many advertise in the business section of your local paper, or you might visit a friend who's online and try out their account. No matter which service you choose, you'll need to provide some information when you first sign up. AOL and the other value-added providers walk you through it on the screen. Other systems may need some technical information that no normal person should be expected to know, so don't be bashful about asking your ISP for help. Everything we've discussed so far involves connecting to the net over your regular phone lines, which place some limits on how fast you can send and receive information. In some places, you can connect through a cable TV line, and there are faster digital phone connections with names like ISDN and ADSL. You can even use the net without a computer. A subscription system called Web TV uses your TV as a screen for emailing and web browsing. It won't do everything a computer does, but it's easy to set up and use. And people who are comfortable with their TV find it very relaxing. While the World Wide Web gets most of the press, the truth is that even more people use the net for email. Literally billions of email messages zip around the planet every day. And people ask for your email address as often as for your phone number. Just across the Charles River from Boston is the city of Cambridge, home to prestigious universities and to many attractive older neighborhoods. Lots of young people pass through Cambridge every year, but our story is about an 80-year-old neighborhood known as the Larches, where residents these days feel a growing sense of community.
People always were kind and they waved to each other, but they didn't know who lived next to them. Maybe they didn't care. I don't know. But now they do, and now they stop and they talk.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Gail.
What do we know about the streets?
Sue Poverman and the neighbors talk a lot lately about much-needed repairs to streets and sidewalks. A year ago, residents here felt somewhat forgotten by their city. But because of the efforts of a few people and because of internet email, the Larches is getting a lot of attention from the Cambridge government. It started at a block party just after Sue moved in.
At the block party, there was a list to sign in. And it said name, address, telephone number, and email address. And I was instantly charmed by that. I took note of it, and I talked to the man who had put the list down on the table.
That man was Bill Warner, the founder of a high-tech company who also wrote the neighborhood newsletter.
I recruited Sue Poverman to be our sort of, not quite webmaster, but the overall curator of all the information. And she's done a phenomenal job. of bringing the neighborhood together by really getting all the email addresses, walking around and meeting everyone, walking around and meeting the people who don't have email, giving them hard copy of some of the messages that go around so that they stay informed even if they're not using computers. And so now we have a neighborhood that is truly fully electronic, even for the people who aren't.
Out of 75 homes in the Larches, 2/3 used email already. And once they started connecting with one another, they found common ground on the need for street repairs, adding trees, and replacing water pipes. Suddenly they discovered at a neighborhood meeting that they had more clout with City Hall.
We had communicated so well about what we wanted that when the person from the city came to this meeting, it was very clear that we had agreed now the roads needed to be repaved, the sidewalks needed to be repaved, this was essential, and that we wanted to return the neighborhood to some of its early design with these islands. The people from the city said, you know, we don't usually see this level of coherence, this level of organization from neighborhoods. This makes our job easy.
It also didn't hurt when Sue Poverman discovered that email is the way to reach Cambridge officials.
And that's how you reach anybody in the city government. And most of them are ingenuous enough to reply.
Now the Larches is getting the repairs the residents want. But just as important, the neighbors now have a personal connection with each other.
Now that we're all on email, we talk to each other about everything that could happen that might make the neighborhood better or might enhance people's lives in the neighborhood.
That can range from neighborhood news about new babies and apartments for rent to adding trees. Although the streets are lined with trees, Judy Kugel led the effort to raise money and replace some trees that posed potential problems. Again, email was a key factor in gaining support.
And it's so instantaneous. It's a miracle to me as a non-technical person, and I would say magical to most people in my generation.
The internet is like an amplifier. It's a tool that amplifies the power of an individual, amplifies the power of a group. The cool thing about the internet is you can take one Sue Poverman, one Judy Kugel, and you can make amazing things happen.
You can get and send email even if you don't surf the web, but you'll need the same basic setup: a computer, a modem, an ISP account, and a software program to tell your computer what to do. There are lots of different programs for handling email. If you choose AOL or one of the other value-added outfits, they provide the software for you. A lot of people with no-frills ISP accounts use the email program built right into their browser, or one that came with their computer. 3 popular and free programs are Outlook Express, Eudora Lite, and Pegasus.
Hey, all my friends have gotten more than that. Our whole email service is free.
Some outfits do offer free email service. These are dial-up accounts that work even if you don't have an ISP. The price you pay is looking at ads that appear when you're reading your mail. Each of these systems has its own quirks, features. The good news is that they work all more or less the same way. We'll show you how with Eudora.
Honey, come write a note to your daughter.
Grandma's program's different from mine. You have to show me again.
Grown-ups, you have to explain everything.
It's pretty much the same. They just put the buttons in different places. Tell it you want to write a new letter. Address it.
What's her address?
Here, I'll do it for you.
An email address looks different from a web address. It has 2 parts separated by the @ sign. People sometimes confuse the two, but remember, they're different. The first part is called the mailbox, like your personal name, though it doesn't have to be. The last part is called the domain. For most people, it's the name of their internet provider. The 2 or 3 letters at the end of the domain name are the same ones we've already seen with web addresses, the .com, .edu, and what have you.
I'd send a copy to my brother, too. Well, you never write him either. He's in Mom's address book.
Where's that?
That's right. You can send an email to more than one person at a time. And most email programs include an address book, so you just click on a name.
Type in a subject. That'll tell them what your email's all about.
How about I'm still here?
They'll be so pleased. Now start writing.
You can make your letter as casual or as formal as you like. Most email systems let you attach computer pictures, documents, and other files to your email as well.
Don't forget to run a spell checker, Dad.
The email program tells the modem to dial up your account.
Okay, and send it. There, wasn't that easy?
and 5 states away in a matter of seconds. It arrives at their daughter's college. When she next checks her email, it'll be waiting for her. The details vary a little from program to program, but basically to read your mail, you log on, click on a message in your inbox, and read it on the screen. Then you can save it, print it, delete it, or you can hit the reply button. The program opens a new blank letter already addressed to the person who wrote you.
Let's email Fred and Myra. Do you have their email address?
There's a variety of sophisticated and high-tech ways to find a person's email address, but sometimes the low-tech approach works best.
I guess we could just call them up on the phone and ask them.
Yeah.
Don't have their phone number either?
I don't have their phone number either.
There are also sites that list telephone numbers and street addresses. These are compiled mostly from telephone directories, so if it's an unlisted number, you probably won't find it here either. Yahoo People Search lets you look for addresses and phone numbers and email addresses. You type in as much of the name and address as you know, and the directory shows you the best matches. The street addresses and phone numbers are the most useful and reliable features of these services. Who Where is another email directory. It's worth checking if Yahoo doesn't work. And American Directory Assistance has phone numbers, and it'll even print a street map for you.
Could we look for Charlotte in here?
Oh, later, dear. Much later.
One of the most amazing ways to use the net is hooking up with people who share your interests and concerns. You name the interest, you can bet there are people discussing it on the net. Some of these discussions are email-based, like mailing lists. You subscribe to receive mailings, and you can contribute to the discussion too. Email is swell, but for some people it's just not conversational enough. Online chat lets you communicate instantly. It's sort of like an old-fashioned party line or CB radio, or like a modern conference call. Everybody talks at once, except that rather than talk, you type.
Wake up and smell the spinach, Popeye.
A group of people talking online is called a chat room, and sometimes it can get a little salty. Just do what you do in the real world. Leave that room and find another one more to your liking. And there are thousands of conversations to choose from. Some internet providers have their own chat rooms, like AOL or WebTV. Many, many others are available to anyone using the net's IRC, or Internet Relay Chat System. With some services, IRC is built in, but your own provider should be able to get you what you need or tell you how to get it for free from the net.
Who are you talking to, Grandma?
These are my buddies, boy. We like to talk about everything.
In chat rooms, you pick your screen name for each session, so you'll never know if today's Popeye or Olive Oil is the same person you talked to yesterday. People have been known to be less than honest about their occupations, their ages, even their gender. Just use precautions as you would in the real world. You really can meet some interesting people, get interesting points of view, and make some warm and enduring friendships in the chat rooms. Grandma really enjoys the conversations at a site run by SeniorNet, a group supporting the use of computer technology by older adults. Computers can shed a wonderful light. But sometimes, our understanding of them is hazy, confused. Finding a way to bridge the gap in knowledge is hard. Many older adults have used a San Francisco-based organization to cut through the fog.
Well, SeniorNet was originally started with the idea that older adults could form a community online as a way to make social support for each other. But we very quickly found out that the biggest obstacle for people was that they didn't know how to use computers. This is a generation that never learned to use computers, either in school or in the workplace, so we needed to train them. So we decided to open up what we called SeniorNet Learning Centers to teach hands-on computer skills. And we opened 5 of them. And we very quickly found out that 5 was not going to do the trick. In fact, today we have more than 160 in 38 states, and almost all of them have 100 people or more waiting lists.
A nonprofit organization, SeniorNet is also found on the internet at www.seniornet.org, as well as in a special section of America Online. It provides adults 50 and older with education for and access to computer technology. One of its training centers is located in an old elementary school in San Jose, California.
Notice that the total sale number hasn't changed yet because I haven't tabbed out of this window.
Here, older adults learn the basics of using computers, as well as how to get the most from software, such as word processors or financial programs.
There's a concern sometimes that computers scare older adults off. I don't have that. By the way, I don't share that observation. I think that the people are more concerned about looking dumb in front of their peers, so they're afraid to try something new. And this is a completely new thing.
So we've set up a curriculum that, one, we don't assume that you know anything. Like if you walk into one of our classes, we're not going to assume you know how to turn it on. We're not going to assume you know how to use a mouse. We're not going to assume you know how to type. Nothing.
Besides classroom training, SeniorNet also provides a way for older adults to communicate with other people. Its discussion areas are very popular.
You have friends, you have resources, you have people discussing things that are of interest to you. You can join in a folder, which is the way we talk about the discussion groups on the AOL part of it. And we have roundtables on SeniorNet's website where there are all kinds of topics, something like 180 different topics on SeniorNet's website that people can talk about, from very serious things to light topics.
Another longtime member is Dr. Ben Budai, a retired physician who lives in San Francisco. Dr. Budai generally approves of the many health discussions on SeniorNet and of the wide availability of health information on the internet, but suggests using some caution.
There is a lot of information, a lot of good information, and a lot of bad information. Don't deny yourself access to information, but learn its consequences, and hopefully its unintended consequences.
We talk to each other online about scams, frauds. We share that information when something is good and when something's bad.
Connie Acton joined SeniorNet about 8 years ago.
In person, people tend to be rather superficial, talk about the weather or sports or whatever. But they really do share online, and they're very supportive of each other generally. I found SeniorNet at a time of great grief for me. My son had died, and I was having a great deal of trouble coping with it, and I found the most wonderful support group on SeniorNet.
With SeniorNet, older adults are moving toward the new world of technology, using it to support each other and to share their wisdom and knowledge with others. And by the way, some folks much prefer discussion groups to chat. Chat requires you to type fast and sometimes think later. As you saw, discussion groups are simply places to leave messages for one another on specific topics. The messages are usually more focused.
That one right there, she'll love the style.
But what color?
Try blue. It'll go with that nice dress I sent her for the spring fling.
You're spoiling my girl.
I know, fun, isn't it?
The internet just goes on and on, doesn't it? So far, you've learned about browsing the World Wide Web. You've checked out email and dropped in on some chat groups. You've seen how the internet is changing the way we all communicate with our world. But the net's not just about words and information. Nowadays, it's serious business.
Ooh, look at these pants.
You girls about done? I want to check out our stock portfolio.
Hold on, we're still ordering stuff.
Doing business on the net, it's called e-commerce, and it's grown up almost overnight to play a major role in the buying and selling of, well, almost everything. Welcome to Dodgeville, Wisconsin. Population 4,000. You might mistake it for a Norman Rockwell picture. Folks here live a less complicated life. But just around the bend is the headquarters of e-commerce pioneer Land's End. You've seen their catalogs for more than 30 years. Now you can also shop them on the net.
Land's End's always been a pioneer at trying to figure out
great ways to service our customers. And what we found was a lot of our customers were starting to use the internet as a way to shop with us. And as our customers told us, hey, we want to shop with you online, we said, we want to build a great experience for you online. And we've really put a lot of effort behind building a great website.
Land's End figured out that if you already like catalog shopping, you'll love online. For one thing, you don't ever have to wait for a catalog to arrive. The latest products are always as close as your computer. And if you're pressed for time, remember, these doors don't close. The net is open for business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's also another plus. The price and selection at online stores are usually the same as the catalogs and are often as good as you'll find in the malls. The Land's End site will even let you customize a model so you can see how the clothes look on your body type.
Our internet business here at Land's End is growing phenomenally year over year. We're seeing more and more people wanting to use the internet and place orders. Last year we had $61 million in sales versus $18 million the year before.
You will probably pay for your purchase with a credit card, and the first question most people have is it safe?
The amount of credit card fraud that happens online is less than in any other medium. So you are far more likely, if you give your credit card to someone in a restaurant and they go to the back room and are charging your little bill, that's far more likely for somebody to steal your credit card that way than online.
Many online stores put your card number into a special code before you send it over the net. They use encryption to hide the number. And even without encryption, the chances of someone swiping your card number in transit are very, very remote. Now, for the actual shopping.
When you go to Land's End website to place an order, what you do is first go to our homepage. When you get to the homepage, you'll have choices of product categories that you could go into, similar to the different departments in a department store. Say you want to go to the women's area. You click on women's, pick the particular product that you're looking for. Then you go in and say, maybe I want to see the colors that are available in that product. So you click on the colors, the available colors would come up, and anytime you want to purchase something, you can click on the shopping basket and add that to your shopping basket. You can then go to the checkout, look at what you have in your shopping basket, make sure that that's what you want at that point, and then you can check out. If you put your name in, you put your credit card number in, and then you place your order.
It's not just the big companies that sell on the net.
Every so often you put in other colors just to make them different.
Alan Bean has a unique perspective as an artist.
I'm trying to tell the story of Apollo. I left the space program to tell some stories about Apollos that wouldn't be known otherwise. Some that would, that are my favorites, and some that wouldn't.
He literally has been where no artist has gone before or since. In 1969, Bean became the fourth man to walk on the moon, and today he devotes his life to painting what he saw.
My hobby was painting and had been even before I became an astronaut. So I liked that sort of thing. I did it on the weekends. And I began to think about what I could do when I left NASA. And a friend of mine, a wife of my lawyer, said, well, you could be an artist. I said, you're crazy.
Now Bean's work is in such demand that he paints only on commission. But reproductions of his art are for sale on the internet. A website run by a firm called Nova Graphics is the largest seller of the astronaut artist's work.
I do know that there are a lot of people that won't go to an art gallery, never been one, they're not interested in going, but they would go to their computer and look on that if the same information were available. So I guess it's important if you're an artist and want people to see your work, that the people that normally would see it, and then those some percent that would never even look or even care about it get a chance to look at it. So I think the internet is going to change a lot of things about art.
It may also be appropriate that cyberspace is where so much of this spaceman's art is sold.
So these paintings hopefully will make people interested in knowing about Apollo, and then maybe when the next step is made, exploration of Mars or something like that, they'll be interested in that. Some other artist will go and come back and paint that experience.
Oh, I like that. A lot of hey, now those are really,
that's Hawaiian now, I tell you.
Are you guys still checking the stock market?
Sorta.
Well, hurry up. I got a little business of my own to conduct.
The net offers people a great opportunity to manage their money. We're not talking about get-rich-quick schemes. You've probably heard about day trading or using computers to buy and sell stocks very quickly. But you can buy and sell in a much more conservative way.
Yeah, the internet's no substitute for good sense and experience. But it gives me a lot of the kinds of tools that only my broker used to have.
The Dodsons use it to do what sophisticated investors have always done. They research the performance of stocks or mutual funds, and then once they're comfortable with the information, they even make purchases through online brokerage firms or fund companies.
Let's see how our portfolio's doing.
There's quite a few online services that let you track all your investments. Some will even send you a daily email so you don't have to keep surfing to their site. You can trade online if you want to, but you don't have to in order to use these trackers. And no, you're not telling the world what your investments are. No one can see inside your computer, and it's all quite private.
Didn't you tell me I could customize this thing?
Oh, sure. Sites called My Yahoo and My Snap both let you set the page up with just what you want, including portfolios, as well as specific company or business news.
That's totally cool.
All the major funds and fund groups are online now. Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard Group, and many, many more, with descriptions of their portfolios and the same prospectus you would get in the mail. If you have an account with one of these companies, you can use the net to check your account and change your investments in their group.
Well, I'm comfortable making my own decisions.
If you'd rather pick individual stocks for yourself, most of the top name brokers are online too. From the no-frills brokers with their low-cost transactions to the full-service firms that offer you advice and more personal attention, the gang's all here.
Hey, what's this? I keep getting these, John.
You've been spammed.
When in doubt, delete.
The internet is truly a reflection of our world, and sad to say, the internet has its problems too. Even, that's right, Dottie, even junk mail, but without the postman. Junk email is known as spam, not to be confused with the familiar meat product. Junk email is sent out to thousands of people at once, often trying to sell something unlikely, unsavory, or downright illegal. A lot of less than honest businesses advertise this way. Many spams include a line that says something like, "Send us a message with the word remove in it to quit getting our offers."
Hey, does that work?
Sorry, it almost never works. And in fact, it may just encourage them. Some providers let you put controls or filters on incoming mail, but they only catch some of the spam. There are several websites with advice on avoiding junk email, and reporting it to your internet provider may help. I don't think spam will go away until it's made illegal, but in the meantime, the best way to deal with it is to use your delete button. And the same goes for those annoying chain letters, which are almost always phony and waste everyone's time. Resist the temptation to forward them to your friends, and I promise good luck will come to you within 3 days.
My turn, boys. It's time to fly.
Travel agents have been using computers for a really long time to find and book travel arrangements.
Where are you going, Grandma?
Washington, D.C., Sonny. I can't stay here forever, you know. And our nation's capital needs me.
Yeah, well, we'll miss you, Grandma. Nobody else gets my jokes.
Now you can book your own trips from home thanks to the World Wide Web. It's not about to replace what a really good travel agent can do, but for a lot of folks, it's just the ticket.
How's that work, Grandma?
Well, there are a lot of travel booking services on the web. Plus, just about every airline in the country has a website. I usually check out who's flying where I want to go, but I'm in Continental's frequent flyer program, so I always like to try them if I can. And I know they fly to Washington.
Well, show me how you do it. I mean, I might want to go somewhere too.
Right, you and Huck Finn.
Friend of yours?
All right. Okay, here's the drill. Now, first, let's see when they fly.
Does it look good?
Don't rush me, don't rush me. I've got a free online account set up with them, so it makes it easier to check out their site. First, I'll search by timetable so I'll know what all's available. That one looks interesting. It'll also let me search for the best fare. Prices can vary from flight to flight, so I want it to help me save some money. Aha, there's the one I want right there. I'm a member of Continental's Freedom Flight Club, too. It's a special deal for seniors.
Wow, being old is good.
Yeah, well, be patient, child. You'll get there soon enough. Hey, look at this. They've got some specials on trips to Europe. Play your cards right, and maybe you and I visit Paris during your spring break.
Yeah, but what about Mom and Dad?
Well, what about them? Look, I can't pay for everybody. And besides, your dad isn't much fun in a foreign country. Not much fun here either.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's stick to business. I'm gonna check out the plane for my Washington trip. It's a 737-500. And see, there's a seating plan. I want an aisle seat close to the front, so I'll ask them if I can have 7 or 8C. And now we make the reservation. I click on the flight. I can make my hotel and rental car reservations here too, but I'll do that later. Hey, and look, they'll even print me out a map of the terminal so I won't get lost trying to find my gate.
Grandma's an experienced traveler, but even she might have been intimidated by the trip a Florida couple recently took. They traveled the world for a whole year and got married along the way.
When you don't look for something, it's usually when you find it, and I certainly have found it.
I could not be happier being married to Scooter.
Karen and Scooter Willis of Boca Raton, Florida, found each other in the conventional way. He was a friend of her sister. But their marriage ceremony was anything but conventional, especially the part about the internet website. It all started when, after 6 years of dating, Karen and Scooter decided they needed a vacation, a long vacation.
Scooter and I were out to dinner. We had both been working late again, and what happened that night was Scooter was on his usual tirade about I'm putting in too many hours and traveling too often, and at that point I just said, well, fine, I'm quitting my job, I'm taking 1998 off, and we're traveling around the world. Will you come with me? And he said in 1 second back to me, yes.
But Scooter, a computer software consultant, didn't want to leave without his laptop.
But she originally wasn't going to let me take my laptop.
I knew Scooter wouldn't be happy without his computer.
So the whole creation of the website was a way for me to still have my laptop, justify carrying it, and keep our family in touch with us.
Believe me, once we were on the road, I was very glad he had his computer.
So what Scooter did was to create an internet website where they could post pictures taken with a digital video camera, as well as a travel log about the places they visited. The site, called worldwander.com, was also a collection point for email from their families and friends. The idea was a hit with their somewhat nervous families.
As a mother, I was very apprehensive about them going on this trip. Very nervous about the whole thing and what they would encounter everywhere and how are we going to know where they are. You know, we thought this is perfect because at least we have some sense of relief.
Karen and Scooter started their trip in South America. They visited sites such as the Inca ruins at Machu Picchu in Peru, but found Acha Falls in Venezuela particularly captivating. While there, Scooter decided it was the right spot for a proposal.
We were very casual down on the beach one afternoon. We'd just gotten back from hiking around, and he just looked at me, and I was just grungy and wet and sandy, and he just said, "Will you marry me?" And I was totally surprised. I got emotional. I got very happy, excited, giddy, and then I made him videotape it.
A few days later, their families got the word when Scooter posted the news on their website.
Homer had come home and I was shouting and crying at the same time. He said, "What is wrong?" I said, "Well, Scooter's asked Karen to marry him," and I was happy.
Scooter and Karen continued to travel, visiting Asia and then Africa. Despite the demands of preparing their website reports and the challenges of using the internet in some parts of the world, they kept posting stories and pictures.
For the most part, it worked out fairly well that every major city, pretty much anywhere in the world, I had no problem dialing in. You know, we went to 40 different countries, and except for maybe 2 of them, we could either go to an internet cafe and get some work done, or just check into a hotel that actually had a phone line, and then dial in and connect it to the World Wide Web.
Also, when we started getting the email responses back from our family and friends who were keeping up with us and how they had their whole offices involved in it and their families reading it, and pretty soon we had hundreds of people, an audience that was had expectations of us sending information of our travel. So by the time we were 2 or 3 months into it, there was no turning back.
As they continued to travel, Scooter continued to look for what he called the most beautiful spot on earth, the place where he would marry Karen. 8 months after he proposed, while traveling in South Africa, he and Karen discovered a book that made what sounded like the perfect suggestion: Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe.
Our 2.5-week vacation in South Africa turned into a 2.5-month stay, and we signed up for a 45-day overland trip through Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, and Southern Africa to get to Zimbabwe to hope that we could get married.
There were a few obstacles, not the wildlife they encountered. Karen and Scooter enjoyed their trek across Africa, but they had none of the usual wedding paraphernalia, and they needed permission for the religious ceremony they wanted. So they sent some email to Karen's father.
They needed a little help. We had to get some papers from our church, from our pastor, saying that Karen was a member of our church and had never been married before, and we had to get all that done in 2 days because they gave us 3 days notice.
Are you ready yet?
Not quite.
Aw.
I'm nervous.
Good. Well, I love you.
When they married, they married both with the local magistrate, so it's a legal marriage in around the world, but also they had the benefit of a Catholic clergyman. With the materials that he received from us, was able to go ahead and orchestrate their wedding vows according to our church also, which usually takes about 4 months. We ended up getting it done in about 4 hours.
Every single thing for the wedding had to be ordered from another city about 3 or 4 hours away and delivered by train. The fabric for the dress, the flowers, the champagne, the rings, everything.
But eventually, it all came together. And there they were, Scooter in a tux, Karen in a white dress, getting married on an island in the middle of the Zambezi River near Victoria Falls.
What our wedding turned out to be far exceeded my expectations.
Oh my gosh, look at her.
There's your baby.
And back home in Florida, a day or so later, the families were looking at the wedding photos and reading an account of the wedding.
To think that they had the ability to take those beautiful pictures and to get it to a web page to go out to whoever wanted to click on their web page, I thought that was fantastic.
The internet really solved the problem of having everyone participate in a really great way in our wedding. We knew that we could broadcast our wedding very soon or shortly after the wedding. So that made us feel better that people would not be totally left out of the celebration.
You might look for new photos on the Willis's website in the future. For their next trip, they want to visit Antarctica.
Honey, come here. We finally found Charlotte.
Oh, well, it's been so long. So, she gonna make the reunion?
You better come see for yourself, dear. Only it's Sister Charlotte now.
Nice outfit.
My. Oh, let's write her right back.
Oh, you wouldn't dare.
She looks great here.
There.
Yeah. Cheers. She looks wonderful. She has
This would be a good time for us to leave, don't you think? We've covered so much, but it feels like we've barely scratched the surface. Communicating with others, finding travel and hobby information, emailing your friends, chatting online, shopping, investing. The internet has so much to offer. Getting started just keeps getting easier. And if you make a few mistakes learning your way around, your computer won't break and the sky won't fall. It's a great way to stay in touch with the world you already know and to discover new worlds I'm sure you'll want to explore. The internet is for grown-ups now, and I know you'll fit right in. See you in cyberspace.
The Internet for Grown-Ups was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
This is PBS.